Hello there, I'm James. Welcome to our quiet corner of the universe. Tonight, I invite you to leave the noise of the world behind. We are going on a gentle journey through the wonders of deep space, where time slows down and stars whisper their ancient secrets. As you listen to my voice, let your muscles relax. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere else you need to be. Just breathe and let the mysteries of the cosmos carry you into a deep, peaceful sleep. Shall we begin our journey among the stars? The birth of silence. The universe. It began about 13.8 billion years ago. But contrary to what you might think, it didn't start with a loud bang. Breath. It was a quiet, deep, and remarkably peaceful expansion. In the very beginning, everything, and I mean everything, was unimaginably small and dense. Time, space, and matter, they were all gathered at a single point. And then, without any rush, the universe began to unfold. Small pause. That expansion is still happening today. Even right now, as you listen to my voice, galaxies are drifting further apart. Stars are being born and fading away. Yet all of this happens in a profound, magnificent silence. The beginning of our universe wasn't chaotic. Instead, it moved forward with a surprising, delicate balance, everything flowing exactly as it was meant to. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the night sky, an endless darkness, and within it, a slowly expanding order. The universe isn't trying to catch up to anything. It isn't in a hurry. It simply exists. Long pause. And this expansion, it includes you too. Because you are a beautiful part of this vast, living cosmos. The birth of stars, they don't just appear out of nowhere. They are born quietly, and they take their time. Soft breath. It all begins with clouds of gas and dust, drifting slowly through the deep silence of space. These clouds begin to draw closer to one another, inch by inch. Nobody is in a rush. Everything moves at its own perfect rhythm. As time passes, these clouds become denser. The pressure at the heart begins to build, and the temperature starts to rise, gently and steadily. And then, at a certain point, pause. Light is born. A new star reveals its first glow within the darkness. But this isn't an explosion. It is a peaceful awakening. For millions of years, that star will shine. It warms the space around it, giving meaning to the vast emptiness. Every single star you see in the night sky, every single one, was once born just like this, in silence. Now take a moment. Stop. And just imagine the sky above you. Every point of light you see is the quiet result of a very long journey. Long pause. Stars don't scream for attention. They simply shine. The journey of light. It is the fastest traveler in the entire universe. And yet, it is never in a hurry. It simply moves forward. Gentle breath. When light leaves a star, it begins a journey that lasts for thousands or even millions of years, traveling through the absolute silence of the void. On this journey, it never stops. It never grows tired. It never loses its way. Light passes through the vast darkness. It glides through the deepest reaches of the emptiness. And finally, small pause. It reaches its destination. When you look up at a star tonight, you must realize that star might not even be there anymore, but its light is still moving, still traveling. That's why looking into space is like looking into the past. Light is simply telling us a story of what once was, whispering it to us, very gently. Now think about that for a moment. That light traveled for an eternity without ever stopping, just to reach your eyes. Long pause. And you are the quiet witness to that incredibly long journey. Light doesn't scream. It doesn't fight to be seen. James için Samanyolu metnini de aynı insansı dokunuşla ve bilgece bir dille hazırladım. Bu metinle birlikte izleyiciye kendi galaksisinin büyüklüğünü ve içindeki güvenli yerini hissettirmeyi amaçladım. The Milky Way Galaxy, the Milky Way. It is our home. But it's important to remember, it isn't alone. It is just one of billions of galaxies scattered across the vast tapestry of the universe. Gentle breath. Within the Milky Way, there are more than 100 billion stars. Each one is exactly where it belongs. Following its own silent path, our sun sits on one of the quiet outer arms of this great galaxy, not too close to the bustling center and not completely lost in the edge. The Milky Way rotates very slowly. A single turn takes millions of years. Nobody ever notices it. And yet, everything we know is part of this grand spinning motion. That faint white band of light you see in the night sky, that is our view from inside this magnificent structure. Now stop for a second and think about yourself. Within this colossal masterpiece, you are a very small but incredibly meaningful point of life. Long pause. The Milky Way isn't in a hurry. It simply continues to be. The silent dance of the planets. They don't just move randomly through the void. They glide along their orbits, held by an invisible perfect balance. Gentle breath. Every planet follows its own unique path, not too fast and never too slow. This movement isn't a race. There is no rush here. It is a silent dance. As they circle the sun, the planets continue their journey without ever stopping. And yet, this motion never brings exhaustion. Years pass, the seasons change, but the rhythm of the planets remains untouched. When you look at it from the vastness of space, this dance looks like a masterpiece of order. Everything is exactly where it is meant to be. Pause. Planets don't speak. They don't make a sound. They simply keep turning. And this calm, steady rotation, it carries the balance of the entire universe in total silence. The silence of space. In space, there is no sound, no wind, no echoes, no noise at all. Soft, long breath. Everything happens in complete and absolute silence. Stars are born. Planets rotate. Entire galaxies move through the void. But nothing is ever heard. This silence, it isn't an empty void. On the contrary, it is deep, and it is all-encompassing. It is a presence of its own. The silence of space allows the mind to slow down. One by one, your thoughts begin to feel lighter, drifting away. Now just imagine, every sound around you is slowly fading. All that remains is the simple feeling of being alive. Long, meditative pause. In space, there's no need to shout. Because the universe, it speaks through its silence. And this stillness wraps around you, just like a soft, warm blanket. The universe asks for nothing. It calls you nowhere. The silent bond, the moon and the earth. The moon, she is Earth's closest companion. Silently, she is always there. Soft breath. As she orbits our world, she is never in a hurry. Every rotation is slow, steady, and calm. The moon's light is not her own. She simply takes the light from the sun and reflects it back to us very gently. That is why the moonlight is never harsh. It is not bright. It is soothing. Small pause. The tides of our oceans are created by the moon's silent pull. The waters rise and the waters fall, yet everything remains in perfect harmony. Now just think about that. That familiar shape you see in the night sky carries an invisible bond with our world. Long pause. The moon never leaves the earth. and the earth. She feels her presence. This bond doesn't speak. It makes no noise, but it is always there, the slowing of time. Time. It doesn't flow the same way everywhere. In space, it moves more slowly, deep, soft breath. As speed increases, as gravity grows stronger, time begins to stretch. It bends. An astronaut drifting through the void experiences time just a little differently than we do here on Earth. The difference isn't something you can feel with your hands, but it is there. In space, time is never in a rush. It isn't trying to catch up to anything. Now just imagine this. Your minutes are stretching out. Your thoughts are slowing down. Long meditative pause. Time, in the vastness of space, is not a pressure. It is a soft, gentle flow. And within this flow, you find your peace. The cosmic dance of galaxies. They are never truly alone. They move too, drawing closer to one another, drifting apart, and sometimes merging into one. Soft, rhythmic breath. This movement takes billions of years to unfold. No one truly notices it. And yet the universe never stops this dance. Spiral arms rotate with a gentle grace. Stars shift their positions across the void, but the underlying order, it is always preserved. Small pause. The dance of the galaxies is not chaos. It is a silent harmony. And it is through this harmony that the universe truly breathes. The silent passing of stars. Not every star burns forever, but their end, it is not something to be feared. Soft, calm breath. Some stars slowly lose their light. They fade away into the darkness as quietly as a candle being blown out. Others share one last, brilliant moment of radiance, and then they disperse. But this is not a true ending. It is a transformation. The remnants of a star, the dust and the light left behind, become the very seeds, the very beginning, of new stars yet to be born. Long meditative pause. The universe, it loses nothing. It simply changes its shape. And every ending, the silent giants. Some stars, they are thousands of times larger than our own sun. They are the silent giants of the cosmos. Their light is incredibly powerful, and yet they are never in a hurry. Soft, deep breath. These stars sit steady and heavy in the deepest reaches of space. They burn through their fuel slowly, expanding over vast eons of time, offering a powerful sense of balance to the entire universe. Small, pause, greatness. It does not have to mean noise. Stardust, the universe. It isn't a strange or foreign place. Because you and I, we are made of stardust, the very atoms in your body. They were once held deep inside the hearts of stars. They burned brilliantly, they faded, and then they transformed into a new shape, into you. That is why looking up at the universe is, in a way, like looking into a mirror. You are not just a spectator. You are a quiet, beautiful part of this grand story. Black holes. Black holes. They are so often misunderstood. They are not monsters waiting to swallow the world. They are simply areas of incredible quiet density, soft, calm breath. Even light, when it wanders too close, might find it cannot return. But when viewed from a distance, a black hole is perfectly still. It is peaceful. It is silent. Small pause. The universe carries even its most powerful structures with a profound sense of quiet. Supernova. Some stars, they complete their long lives with one last brilliant moment. We call this moment a supernova. Soft, deep breath. But you must understand, this is not an act of anger. It is a gift to the cosmos, because a supernova releases new elements into the universe. The very building blocks of everything we know. Long, meditative pause. So you see, even an explosion in the vast scale of the universe carries a quiet, beautiful meaning. We are not alone in the universe. The universe is vast, but that doesn't mean we are alone. Billions of stars, countless planets, infinite possibilities. The universe, it holds everything within itself. It holds you too. And this vastness, it isn't something to be afraid of. It is something to rest within. It is peaceful. Earth, a cosmic balance. Earth. She doesn't just sit randomly in the void. She exists within a very delicate, very precise balance. Not too close to the sun, and not too far away. She is exactly where she needs to be. Because of this perfect distance, the water remains liquid. The seasons unfold, and life becomes possible. As the earth rotates, nights and days are created. This turning is slow, steady, and orderly. She is never in a hurry. The atmosphere wraps around the planet so gently. It filters the harsh rays. It protects us in silence. Now just think about that. In the vast, endless emptiness of space, there is this small, balanced world. Earth is not perfect, but for living, she is exactly enough. And this enough, it is a calm, beautiful gift from the universe. Mars, the silent red planet. Mars, she sits as a quiet crimson point within the vastness of space. Her color comes from the dust of iron, and that is why we call her the red planet. Once, long ago, there was water on Mars. Rivers flowed, and lakes were formed. But as the eons passed, everything grew still. Today, Mars is cold and silent. The winds blow softly, and the dust storms rise and fall like a slow, rhythmic breath. Mars reminds us of the past. She shows us how a world can change over time. She does not speak. But when you look at her, she tells a story of incredible patience. Mars whispers that in this universe, everything, eventually, finds its way into a slow and peaceful transformation. Jupiter, a giant, silence. Jupiter, he is the largest planet in our entire solar system, and yet he does not shout with his sighs. Deep, steady breath. His clouds rotate with a slow, hypnotic grace. Even his storms last for centuries. The great red spot, it is a silent tempest that has existed for hundreds of years. Jupiter is a protector. He draws the wandering asteroids toward himself, shielding the other planets. He is our silent cosmic shield. Small pause. Sometimes true strength is not about moving. It is about standing firm. Jupiter shows us that in this universe, even the greatest power can be remarkably calm. Saturn, the rings of time. Saturn's rings. From a distance, they look so delicate, so fragile, but they are made of millions of tiny pieces of ice and rock. Each piece follows its own path, rotating in perfect order, no collisions, no rush. Saturn is a reminder of time itself. Everything in this life has layers upon layers. The rings are temporary. One day, many millions of years from now, they will fade away. But for now, they are here. And Saturn tells us this. Beauty. It doesn't have to be permanent to be meaningful. Neptune. Cold and deep. Neptune. She is one of the furthest planets from our sun. Cold and remarkably deep. Her winds are incredibly powerful, the fastest in the solar system. And yet, when viewed from across the void, Everything appears so calm, so still. Her blue color reminds us of a vast ocean, but this is an icy crystalline blue. Neptune teaches us something important. Silence is not always soft, but even so, it is serene. And depth. Depth does not have to be something to fear. It is simply a place to find your rest. The birth of stars. A star, it doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It is formed through incredible patience. The gas and dust drifting through space begin to draw together very slowly. Time passes, the pressure builds, layer by layer. And then a moment comes. Light is born. This birth is silent. No one hears it. No one witnesses the sound of it. But the universe who remembers. Every star is the result of a very long wait, and every light is prepared in the heart of the darkness before it finally shines. The journey of starlight. The light that leaves a star, it doesn't reach us right away. It travels for years, even thousands of years. A star you see right now might not even exist anymore, but its light is still here. This is a greeting from the past, a silent message drifting through time. Starlight tells us this. Nothing truly ends in an instant. Some impacts continue to glow for a very long time. The Milky Way, our home. The Milky Way. It is made of billions of stars, but it is not chaotic. Everything turns in perfect harmony. Slowly, in order. We are in a tiny corner of this galaxy, but this corner is our home. The Milky Way reminds us of this. Being small doesn't mean you are unimportant. Dark matter, the unseen. Everything we can see in the universe is actually very little. There is something else, something hidden, dark matter. It has no light, but it has a presence. It holds the galaxies together, silently, secretly. Sometimes the most powerful things cannot be seen with the eyes, but they can be felt. Balance in the darkness. There is emptiness in the universe. There is darkness, but there is no chaos. Everything is in a state of balance. The dark is not the enemy of the light. It is its companion, its completion. In the universe, everything is exactly where it belongs. In silence, in patience, the silence of black holes. Black holes, they are among the quietest structures in the entire universe. We cannot see them with our eyes, but we can feel their presence. Even light, when it wanders too close, finds it cannot return. Time begins to slow down. Movement itself comes to a rest, but black holes are not destroyers. They are simply part of the great balance of the cosmos. As silence sometimes is not emptiness. It is just incredibly deep. The slowing of time. In space, time does not flow as it does on Earth. In some places it slows down. In others, it almost stands still. Speed and mass, they stretch and bend time. This is not a flaw. It is the natural order of existence. If time is not fixed, then what is the meaning of being in a hurry? The universe experiences everything at its own perfect pace. The silent cosmic rain. Every single day, tiny pieces of the universe fall toward the earth, small as dust and completely silent. These are visitors from the deep void. At night, they leave faint trails of light across the sky. We often think the universe is so far away, but in reality, it is touching us constantly. The fullness of the void space looks empty to the eye, but it is never truly empty. There is energy. There is movement. There is potential waiting to happen. The void is simply a silent waiting. The rhythm of the universe. In the universe, everything moves with a rhythm. The planets rotate. The stars vibrate with life. This rhythm cannot be heard with ears, but it can be felt within. The universe is never in a rush, and yet everything happens. Intergalactic silence between the galaxy. There are vast, immense voids. These spaces are the purest form of silence. There are no stars there, no bursts of light, only a profound, deep stillness. These areas are not about separation, they are about balance. In the universe, not everything has to be side by side. Some things can remain in perfect harmony even from a distance. The dimming of light. Not every star shines forever. In time, its light begins to fade. It grows calm. This is not a loss. It is a natural transition. The dimming of light is not the victory of darkness. It is simply rest. The universe grants everything the permission to rest. Rotating galaxies. Galaxies rotate, but they are not fast. They move with soft, gentle turns that last for millions of years. Each star follows its own path, without collision, without any rush. This rotation tells us something. Order can be silent. Invisible boundaries. In space, there are boundaries, but there are no lines. Regions slowly blend into one another. There are no sharp divisions. Sometimes boundaries exist not to separate, but to create balance. The cosmic night. The vast majority of the universe is dark, but this darkness is not frightening. It is a night at rest. Just as the night prepares us for the day, the cosmic night prepares the way for new beginnings. The distant whispers of the universe. The universe, it is never truly, completely silent. But its sounds, they come from very, very far away. Radio waves, vibrations, faint, lingering echoes. These are not noises, they are whispers. The universe does not speak. But for those who listen, it always has a story to tell. Journeying through the void, moving through space. It is not like flying. It is gliding. There is no speed, no resistance. There is only the movement itself. Sometimes it is not about arriving at a destination. Just being on the way is enough. Stardust. When stars die, they leave behind dust. And this dust is the foundation of all new things, planets, stones, even our own bodies. Everything is simply the continuation of something else. The silent waiting. Most of the universe appears to be motionless, but this is a form of waiting. Nothing is in a hurry. Nothing is forced. Waiting is not doing nothing. It is the act of preparing. The cosmic breath. The universe expands, then it slows, then it expands again. This is a cosmic breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Even the universe takes its time to breathe. Approaching infinity, it is not a place, nor is it a direction. It is a feeling, one that expands as you draw closer. When you look at the universe, you cannot see a boundary, but still, you feel its presence. This feeling does not frighten us. Instead, it slows us down. Because infinity is not for those who rush, it is for those who can stand still. Everything in the universe starts at a point, but not everything must have a clear ending. Infinity is not the unknown. It is a comfortable uncertainty. And sometimes, that is exactly what we need. Directionlessness in space. In space, there is no up or down, no right or left. Every direction is equal. This is why it's impossible to be truly lost in space, because there is no wrong direction. Having no direction is not chaos. It is freedom. The universe teaches us this. You don't always need a goal or a destination. Sometimes simply moving is enough. And sometimes going nowhere at all is the truest path. Slow transformation. In the universe, nothing changes abruptly. Every transformation is slow. Even the stars change over millions of years without being noticed. This slowness is not a flaw. It is a protection, because things that change quickly break easily, but those that change slowly, they adapt. The universe forces no one. It grants time to everything. And this time is silent, yet safe. The great silence. In the depths of the universe, there are regions where it seems as if nothing is happening. But this is not emptiness. These areas are resting, just as the night rests the day. The great silence balances the universe. Not everything has to be in motion. One doesn't have to produce every single moment. Sometimes, just standing still is enough. The lightness of being in the universe is not a heavy responsibility. It is not a requirement. It is a light existence. Stars do not exert effort. Planets do not grow weary. Everything exists just as it is. The universe does not force anyone to be something they are not. And perhaps the greatest peace is found right here. The patience of space in space. Nothing is in a rush, because there is no need for haste. Distances are vast, time is long, and everything moves at exactly the speed it should. The birth of a star takes millions of years. The balancing of a planet takes even longer. This patience does not come from waiting. It is a natural acceptance. The universe knows that nothing becomes beautiful by being forced. Nothing becomes more meaningful by being sped up. The patience of space is silent, yet it teaches us so much. And this patience grants enough room for everything to simply be. Light and shadow. In the universe, there is light, but there is also shadow. Light does not fall the same way everywhere. Some regions are brightened, while others remain in the shade. This is not a mistake. This is depth. Without the shadow, the direction of the light cannot be understood. Brightness gains its meaning from the silence. The universe carries both. And both need each other. Balance is not found only in the brightness. It is built within the darkness too. The cosmic cycle. The universe is not a straight line. It is a cycle. There is birth. There is growth. There is dispersal. And then it begins again. Stars are born. They radiate light, and then they grow calm. This cycle is not about repetition. It is about remembering. Every time the universe produces not the same thing, but the same peace. And this peace remains quietly within the constant of motion. The deep void. The deep void is the calmest place in all of space. Events are rare here. Movement is minimal. But existence continues. The void is not nothingness. It is simply a silent space. The universe rests within these areas. It rearranges itself. The deep void asks for nothing, but it carries so much. And sometimes, the safest place of all is right here. Silent acceptance. The universe, it does not reject what is. It accepts everything exactly as it is. A star that fades does not cause the cosmos to mourn. A galaxy that disperses does not meet any resistance. Silent acceptance is not about giving up. It is about not resisting. The universe knows that everything has its time. And when that time comes, forcing it is meaningless. This acceptance is not weakness. It is a profound strength. Because those who accept grow less weary. They break less easily. The peace of the universe begins right here, staying in the flow. In space, nothing moves against the current. Everything remains within the flow of motion. Planets do not stop. Stars do not move backward. Everything advances on its own path. Staying in the flow is about letting go of control, but it is not about getting lost. The universe gives direction to all things. But this direction is never forceful. The flow is a gentle guide. And sometimes, the safest feeling of all is to let yourself go with the flow. The vastness of time. Time. There is an abundance of it in the universe. No one consumes it. No one diminishes it. There is enough time for every event to unfold. Always. This is why the universe does not rush. It does not panic. Time is not a tool of pressure. It is a creator of space. The stillness of the universe comes from this vastness of time, and this vastness leaves room for everything to breathe. Moments of stillness. Between every movement there is a stillness. These moments are precious. The universe does not see these as empty gaps to be skipped. It protects them. Stillness is not a loss of energy. It is a gathering of strength. Even the stars remain silent for long ages. But this silence is not a lack of anything. The universe remains in balance because of its stillness. Deep peace. Deep peace is not the absence of everything. It is the presence of everything in its proper place. The universe knows this. That is why it remains so calm. Peace does not arrive with a loud voice. It settles in, unnoticed. This is the most powerful state of the universe. Silent, soft, and balanced. And this peace, it is always standing there, being one with the universe. Being one with the universe is not about getting lost. On the contrary, it is about softening right where you are. In the universe, nothing isolates itself. Every piece is held within the whole. A star does not shine alone. A galaxy does not rotate alone. Everything exists in companionship with everything else. Being one is not about being the same. It is about staying in harmony. The universe does not force this. The state of being forms naturally. And sometimes, the deepest relaxation is to stop feeling separate from the universe. Boundless space. In the universe, space never narrows. It always expands. It always makes room. When something grows, it does not crowd something else out. Because there is always space. This vastness is comforting. No one is backed into a corner. No one is in a rush. The universe finds a place for everything, silently, with patience. Boundless space is not a lack of control. It is a form of trust. And this trust whispers that everything is possible. I did a long, long wait, as some things wait for a very long time. But this waiting is never in vain. Stars remain silent for ages before they are born. For the universe, waiting is not delaying. It is preparing. Nothing happens before its time, but nothing is ever too late either. This balance is the strength of the cosmos. The long wait carries a deep sense of trust. It tells us that everything knows its own perfect time. Silent continuity. The universe does not stop, but it does not move with noise. Movement continues silently, unnoticed. Galaxies advance. Time flows, but no one shouts. This continuity is not exhausting. It is balanced and calm. The power of the universe lies right here. Being constant does not have to be a burden. Sometimes, moving forward is simply a gentle reminder. Deep vastness. In the depths of the universe, vastness is not just a measurement, it is a feeling. This feeling does not compress you. It does not narrow your world. On the contrary, it brings relief. Knowing that there is infinite space around you relaxes the body. It slows down the mind. The universe never backs anything into a corner. It makes room for everything. In this vastness, simply being is enough. You don't need to move. You don't need to decide. Just being there. Deep vastness reminds us of this. There is room. There is time. And there is enough space for everything. Soft continuity. Continuity in the universe is uninterrupted, yet soft. It continues without anyone noticing. One moment ends, another begins. But the transition is never felt. This flow does not disturb. It does not force. The universe does not like abrupt changes. It carries everything gently. That is why nothing is harsh. No transition is ever sharp. Soft continuity calms the body. It makes thoughts heavy and slow, and in this state, time is almost unnoticeable. Low vibration. In the deep regions of the universe, vibrations are low. Everything moves more heavily and more calmly. This low vibration is like sleep, but there is no getting lost. Here, nothing exists with a loud voice. Everything remains within itself. Low vibration is not a danger. It is an invitation to slow down, to relax, to let go. The universe recognizes this state, and it protects it, because deep rest is only possible at this frequency. Silent space. Silent spaces are the safest places in the universe. There are no expectations here, no obligations. Nothing asks anything of you, nothing that tries to grab your attention. Silent space is not emptiness. It is a sheltered stop. The universe leaves these spaces intentionally, because every movement needs a rest. And sometimes the deepest relaxation is found where nothing else exists. The night phase. This part is the night phase of the universe. The light fades, the movement slows, but nothing is lost. Night is not about ending. It is about preparing. The universe repairs itself in this phase. It balances. It renews. Everything stays in its place, only more slowly. The night phase is like a deep permission. You can let go. You don't have to hold on anymore. Absolute stillness. In certain moments of the universe, movement becomes almost unnoticeable. Everything approaches its calmest possible state. These moments are absolute stillness. Nothing speeds up. Nothing is forced. Everything softens right where it is. Absolute stillness is not emptiness. It is a state that is full yet silent. In this state, the universe does not carry itself. There is no weight. There is no tension. This stillness relaxes the body. It slows down the thoughts. And after a certain point, you don't even notice time passing anymore. Deep flow. Deep flow is the softest form of movement. There is progress, but no sense of direction. The universe does not force this flow. It simply allows it. In this flow, control is unnecessary. Making plans is meaningless. Everything already knows its own path. Deep flow is resistant-free. It is silent. It is gentle. In this state, the mind lets go of its grip. The body gives permission to be carried. The flow of the universe is a vessel. It does not drop you. It does not shake you. It simply continues. The melting of time. At this point, time loses its clarity. Minutes, they lose their meaning. For the universe, this is a natural occurrence. When time melts, the rush melts away too. Expectations melt away. All that remains is the present moment. This moment is vast. It is soft. It is supportive. The universe does not hold time tightly. It lets it go slack. And this loosening carries the body into a profound comfort. Time does not vanish. It simply loses its importance. Deep silence. Deep silence is not the absence of all sound. It is the absence of any call. In this silence, the universe calls to no one. It tries to warn no one. Here, there is no seeking of attention. Here, there is no waiting. Silence is a state of complete permission. In this state, the mind lets itself go. The body feels protected. Deep silence is not dangerous. On the contrary, it is safe. The universe rests most deeply. Here, the threshold of sleep. This part is the threshold of sleep. Wakefulness is still there, but it has grown limp. Everything is a little slower, a little lighter. The universe recognizes this threshold, and it does not push. You don't have to cross it. You're free to stay awake. But if you do cross, everything softens. Sleep is not a break. It is a gentle transition, and the universe carries this transition in perfect silence, flowing in sleep. When sleep begins, movement does not stop. It simply changes shape. Thoughts lose their hardness. They soften at the edges. Clarity fades away. The universe recognizes this state, and it does not disturb it. Sleep is not about losing control. It is about an increase in trust. The body accepts being carried. The mind stops following. In this flow, there is no need to know the direction. Everything already goes where it needs to be. The flow within sleep is silent. It is uninterrupted. It is protective. And the universe maintains this flow without ever breaking it. Heavy thoughts. As sleep deepens, thoughts grow heavy. They slow down. They withdraw, one by one. It is no longer necessary to hold on to every idea. It is not required to finish every sentence. The universe allows this dissolution. Thoughts do not vanish. They are simply put to rest. This heaviness is not uncomfortable. On the contrary, it is as safe as the earth beneath you. In this state, the mind lets itself go. Nothing escapes. Nothing remains half-finished. Everything waits, exactly where it belongs. Deep carrying. At this stage, you are not the one moving. The movement carries you. The rhythm of the universe takes over. This carrying is not fast, but it is certain. There is no falling. There is no shaking. The body feels protected. The mind stops watching. Deep carrying is not a lack of control. It is complete trust. The universe knows this state very well, and it never leaves anyone halfway. Uninterrupted night. The night is now uninterrupted. There are no warnings. There are no calls. The universe protects this silence intentionally. Because restoration can only happen here, everything is rearranged at its own pace, without being forced. Night is not about closing down. It is about leaving things open. The burdens of the mind are suspended. The body spreads out comfortably, and nothing is in a hurry. Balance in sleep. As sleep progresses, the balance deepens. Everything reaches its simplest form. There is no excess left. There is no lack. The universe does not force the balance. It allows it to form. This balance is silent, but it is very powerful. Sleep is not an emptiness. It is a full rest, and this state of balance continues calmly until the morning arrives. Soft stirring. While the depth still continues, a very slight stirring begins. It is not noticed. It does not disturb. This is not waking up. It is simply a change of direction. The universe makes this transition slowly, because haste disrupts the balance. The body maintains its deep stillness, but it is no longer completely stationary. The mind does not yet think. It simply prepares. This stirring is safe. It is controlled. It is soft. And nothing changes all at once. Light in deep sleep. Within the deep sleep, a very faint light begins to form. It cannot be seen with the eyes, but it is felt. This light is not wakefulness. It is not awareness either. It is simply a reminder of balance. The universe does not turn this light up too bright, because the goal is not to break the sleep. The body remains relaxed. The mind maintains its silence. This light is a sign. It says that everything is as it should be. And then it grows calm once again. Returning to the rhythm, sleep finds its own rhythm once more, neither deeper nor more shallow. This rhythm is the natural flow of the universe. The breath balances itself effortlessly. The heart remains calm. The mind is still silent, but it is no longer completely closed. This state does not last very long, but it is very important, because transitions only become safe this way. The universe holds the rhythm. and it never forces you. The lighter layer of sleep. Now, the sleep is a bit lighter, but it is still deep. The outside world is still far away. Sounds are unimportant. The body feels rested, but it does not move. The mind does not yet produce thoughts. It simply waits in silence. This layer is just before awakening, but it is not there yet. The universe maintains this distance because a sudden awakening disrupts the balance. Soft preparation. At this stage, everything is ready, but nothing begins yet. Sleep completes its final task. The mind is cleared of its burdens. The body is balanced. The energy has settled in quietly. The universe completes this preparation, but it does not call to you immediately, because the best awakening is the one that is not rushed. And this calm preparation continues silently until the morning arrives. The birth of silence. The universe, it began about 13.8 billion years ago. But contrary to what you might think, it didn't start with a loud bang. Breath. It was a quiet, deep, and remarkably peaceful expansion. In the very beginning, everything, and I mean everything, was unimaginably small and dense. Time, space, and matter, they were all gathered at a single point. And then, without any rush, the universe began to unfold. Small pause. That expansion is still happening today. Even right now, as you listen to my voice, galaxies are drifting further apart. Stars are being born and fading away. Yet all of this happens in a profound, magnificent silence. The beginning of our universe wasn't chaotic. Instead, it moved forward with a surprising, delicate balance. Everything flowing exactly as it was meant to. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the night sky, an endless darkness, and within it, a slowly expanding order. The universe isn't trying to catch up to anything. It isn't in a hurry. It simply exists. Long pause. And this expansion, it includes you too, because you are a beautiful part of this vast, living cosmos. The birth of stars, they don't just appear out of nowhere. They are born quietly, and they take their time. Soft breath. It all begins with clouds of gas and dust, drifting slowly through the deep silence of space. These clouds begin to draw closer to one another, inch by inch. Nobody is in a rush. Everything moves at its own perfect rhythm. As time passes, these clouds become denser. The pressure at the heart begins to build, and the temperature starts to rise, gently and steadily. And then, at a certain point, pause. Light is born. A new star reveals its first glow within the darkness. But this isn't an explosion. It is a peaceful awakening. For millions of years, that star will shine. It warms the space around it, giving meaning to the vast emptiness. Every single star you see in the night sky, every single one, was once born just like this, in silence. Now take a moment, stop, and just imagine the sky above you. Every point of light you see is the quiet result of a very long journey. Long pause. Stars don't scream for attention. They simply shine. The journey of light. It is the fastest traveler in the entire universe, and yet it is never in a hurry. It simply moves forward. Gentle breath. When light leaves a star, it begins a journey that lasts for thousands or even millions of years, traveling through the absolute silence of the void. On this journey, it never stops. It never grows tired. It never loses its way. Light passes through the vast darkness. It glides through the deepest reaches of the emptiness. And finally, small pause. It reaches its destination. When you look up at a star tonight, you must realize that star might not even be there anymore, but its light is still moving, still traveling. That's why looking into space is like looking into the past. Light is simply telling us a story of what once was, whispering it to us, very gently. Now think about that for a moment. That light traveled for an eternity without ever stopping, just to reach your eyes. Long pause. And you are the quiet witness to that incredibly long journey. Light doesn't scream. It doesn't fight to be seen. James için Samanyolu metnini de aynı insansı dokunuşla ve bilgece bir dille hazırladım. Bu metinle birlikte izleyiciye kendi galaksisinin büyüklüğünü ve içindeki güvenli yerini hissettirmeyi amaçladım. The Milky Way Galaxy, the Milky Way. It is our home. But it's important to remember, it isn't alone. It is just one of billions of galaxies scattered across the vast tapestry of the universe. Gentle breath. Within the Milky Way, there are more than 100 billion stars. Each one is exactly where it belongs. Following its own silent path, our sun sits on one of the quiet outer arms of this great galaxy, not too close to the bustling center and not completely lost in the edge. The Milky Way rotates very slowly. A single turn takes millions of years. Nobody ever notices it. And yet, everything we know is part of this grand spinning motion. That faint white band of light you see in the night sky, that is our view from inside this magnificent structure. Now stop for a second and think about yourself. Within this colossal masterpiece, you are a very small but incredibly meaningful point of life. Long pause. The Milky Way isn't in a hurry. It simply continues to be. The silent dance of the planets. They don't just move randomly through the void. They glide along their orbits, held by an invisible perfect balance. Gentle breath. Every planet follows its own unique path, not too fast and never too slow. This movement isn't a race. There is no rush here. It is a silent dance. As they circle the sun, the planets continue their journey without ever stopping. And yet, this motion never brings exhaustion. Years pass, the seasons change, but the rhythm of the planets remains untouched. When you look at it from the vastness of space, this dance looks like a masterpiece of order. Everything is exactly where it is meant to be. Pause. Planets don't speak. They don't make a sound. They simply keep turning. And this calm, steady rotation, it carries the balance of the entire universe in total silence. The silence of space. In space, there is no sound, no wind, no echoes, no noise at all. Soft, long breath. Everything happens in complete and absolute silence. Stars are born. Planets rotate. Entire galaxies move through the void. But nothing is ever heard. This silence, it isn't an empty void. On the contrary, it is deep, and it is all-encompassing. It is a presence of its own. The silence of space allows the mind to slow down. One by one, your thoughts begin to feel lighter, drifting away. Now just imagine, every sound around you is slowly fading. All that remains is the simple feeling of being alive. Long, meditative pause. In space, there's no need to shout. Because the universe, it speaks through its silence. And this stillness wraps around you, just like a soft, warm blanket. The universe asks for nothing. It calls you nowhere. Supernova. Some stars, they complete their long lives with one last brilliant moment. We call this moment a supernova. Soft, deep breath. But you must understand, this is not an act of anger. It is a gift to the cosmos, because a supernova releases new elements into the universe. The very building blocks of everything we know. Long, meditative pause. So you see, Even an explosion in the vast scale of the universe carries a quiet, beautiful meaning